Okay guys, welcome back. Today we bought a new car and it's right here behind me. It is a 2005 Honda Element. Now, I do like the Honda Element because it's very rugged, all-wheel drive if you buy an all-wheel drive model. And well, this is my third one. So people that tend to buy Elements tend to buy multiple because they like them that much. So my first one, the rear subframe ripped out, which is a common issue in Canada. They rust out and they tear apart. Now there's a recall on it. So that was the first one. Let me show you the second one. So the second one is hiding back there. It's actually black as well. Let me see. Black. So that one is a manual front wheel drive and it passed the Honda recall. And the rear subframe ripped out of that. So I was on the hunt for another Honda Element. I like these. I want to do an all-wheel drive swap if it wasn't all-wheel drive. I want to do a 5-speed swap. I want to do a couple things to it. So we bought this buggy. Now, I bought this unseen. Didn't care. I told him as long as it wasn't rusty, I was buying it. And well, he said it wasn't rusty, so I bought it. The first issue it has is it idles up and down, which is a common issue on the Honda Element. So usually it is a throttle body. The gentleman said that he put a throttle body on this and it still did it. And the mechanic told him that it was the knock sensor causing it to idle up and down, and he wasn't putting no more money into it. So I just bought it. Come to find out, this is a US car. I didn't even know that. I literally just said if it's rust-free, I'm buying it because I don't care. I have the other car for parts. So between the two, we should be able to fix this and have ourselves a decent winter car. I was under the assumption it's all-wheel drive. So let's get up on the hoist. Let's check it out. Let's scan it, see what it needs. Let's start fixing this car so it works. So here's the interior beforehand. Seats are definitely destroyed. Back seats are already out because I had to go to the U-Pull, as you see. All right, let's diagnose this cheap Element and see what we have. We'll go auto detect on the VIN just to play it safe. Sometimes it doesn't work, but we'll see. Oh, it asked us to put it in neutral. We shoved it in neutral. We're just gonna do the auto scan. Might take a little bit, but we'll see what's going on. So we have no heat, which is probably gonna be either a thermostat, which won't show up on the scan, or it's gonna be a clogged, or your system's going to be clogged, which we'll have to take the dash apart to clean it and fix it. But we do have the airbag lights on, which I'm going to assume is going to be the driver's side seatbelt, since Elements are known for that and they have a recall. And I'm going to say that the revving up and down is going to be a throttle body. Even knowing they said they put a throttle body on it, I think they put a faulty used one on. Okay, the scan is done, and we have a fault on the PCM, which is going to be my computer slash engine. So it's going to be engine faults. See what it says. Okay, so it does say that we have sensor 1. So we have knock. We have an intake air system leak, idle air control system. That's going to be throttle body. So maybe they didn't do it properly. And then we still have circuit 1. And then we have another air intake. And then we have a knock sensor, temporary, no signal. Idle air control higher than expected. So I imagine that if we check out, the throttle body might have a hose not connected right, or a rip in a hose, or like I suspect it's going to need another throttle body. Let's erase codes and see which ones come back. It's going to be driver's seat. Ha! Told you, driver's seat. There goes. Low on coolant. Not really. Kind of. There. It was. Maybe jack up the front end. Remember, Hondas have to be up really high. So it is idling up and down. We did get a code. I know one of the codes was for insufficient air, which I'm going to say is or too much air, which is going to be that clamp there. So we got to clamp on, and the other one will take off. Now, the exhaust on this is hanging down by the O2 or by the converter. We're going to take the converter off the other car where we bought an aftermarket converter, so this one can be sold to recoup a lot of the money what we paid for this. So I think what we're going to do, and Chris had the idea, was where it's revving up and down, it's more likely going to be because of the O2 sensors throwing a code, and the other one has good O2. So I think we're going to start with that before we change this throttle body. Yes, this throttle body is used. We know that. So you can see that throttle body there is a used throttle body, but I think what we're going to start with is the exhaust. And we get to get this up in the air since we've not had this up in the air yet. It has no heat, which is another issue, which is probably going to have to be bled, or it's going to need a thermostat to open up. But you think the thermostat would be open?
It wasn't overheating, so...
It wasn't overheating on the way home. So let's get this down. We'll get it in the air. We'll get back, and we'll see what kind of issue we have. The first look. Yeah, the rocker's solid. You can definitely, well, there's scale. But for an 05...
A little more rot there, but nothing crazy.
Here, hold that. There's a patch on the floor. Wow. Patch on the floor.
The whole thing, look. The whole thing did it. Look, right up in there, too.
They put a patch in the floor, but the rocker's solid. Like all the way.
It's a random spot, too.
Here, come back here and shine the light. I'm not poking at it, but yeah, like it's not a hole. Oh, yeah, it is.
It is right there. Yeah. Same spot yours, but it's just not as internal.
Now, what does the mounting points look like?
Looks solid. It is scaly, but...
And this side? Oh, the exhaust broke right off. And what does the rocker look like? Yeah, this rocker is solid still. It'll probably be a hole if you poked.
It, yeah.
Now, shine here for a second. I want to see... The rear arm's good.
Oh, rear arm's good. It's good on it.
Backing plate?
No,
solid enough, I think.
Solid enough, looking like.
Same with this side.
Yes.
That side's missing pieces. Yeah. See, that's a full circle. This one isn't.
Well,
so this
one's missing the top half up here.
So we might have to change backing plate. The good thing about having this running for a bit is they got hot bolts there. I think the spring went that way. So with the two, they actually only broke one bolt, so that's not terrible. But the exhaust is rotten in the back that we noticed too. So it's gonna need a little bit of work. It's gonna need at least the converter swap. We're only doing that because the O2 needs to be swapped, but I have an aftermarket converter, so that's like $700 sitting there. The new converter was like what, 100 I think we paid.
150.
So why not swap it since we have it? And plus, that flange is pretty well beat. It's rotten. And the converter's right there. So that works out. Then we got to change the exhaust because, well, they all rot right there. Technically, you should be able to just build a cut both and slot a piece of metal over it, eh?
Should be that.
That's where you might be the best bet, to be honest. Because find one at junkyard might be a pain. To the old exhaust on the old Element, just because this flange wasn't there, I don't believe. So what we're going to do is, I actually welded it tight against the flange. So it's going to be a pain to clean up. I could do it two ways. I could cut it and grind it smooth. We'll need a donut gasket there. Go ahead. Which realistically wouldn't be that bad of a job to do. Would be just cut the old welder and then just do it smooth. Or I could cut this and lap it. It's only a nut and bolt that goes there, isn't it? Nut and bolt in the gasket.
That's it.
I think what we should do is just cut it.
Cut that down.
And then I'll just get a clean flapper wheel.
Just leave a little bit of a lip there just so that's something to go into. Put a gasket onto it, two nut and bolts, some washers.
Okay, well, let's get it cut. So the good thing about that is it's going to give it a little bit of a gap, a little bit of a seal. So when it goes tight, it's going to recess. It's going to sit inside this recess. So it's going to be less of an exhaust leak. We are going to need to get a donut gasket for that at one point in time. But unfortunately, I wasn't planning on doing that. I didn't have a donut gasket for it. Actually, I think I have an outer gasket.
Good. Voila!
So with that buttoned up, we just erased the code. It stayed erased. Let's read code to see if it comes on. There's no check engine light anyway, is there? So there's no check engine light on now, which has fixed the idling issue. So realistically, it was just the O2 sensor, but again, we paid $9.50 for the car. The converter's gone down in price, so I think I might need a throttle button now. Okay, so I was saying, realistically, I paid $9.50 for the car. I think the converters will go down in price. I think they're $650, $700 now. So I'm in the car for $300 and I sell the converter. I already have the aftermarket converter, just like I already have an OEM throttle body, which we know works because we took it off of the other car. So we'll take that off. We'll take the hose clamp off for the airbox because, yeah, so we might as well just do both at the same time. And it's done and over with. So it might not need a throttle body. It's not throwing a code yet. But if it's not clamped properly, it's getting extra air in. And it's missing, yeah. So Chris is saying let's try that first. So if he wants to, let's do that first. So like anything, change of plans. We're going to do the throttle body at the same time. But we took the hose off the other car. It was literally, what, a 5-minute job? So for the sake of it, we know the throttle body is good. We'll do that. And then hopefully we can get this to bleed, because right now it's only blowing cold air. So when Chris takes it apart, we're going to see if we notice anything that's not normal or not together. So there's nothing visible. And it has a new gasket, you said, on it. So. But we did lose a lot of coolant. There's a new gasket there. So we are going to have to probably bleed this still. It could just be air in the system.
Could be airlocked, yeah.
But we know this one's good. You got the gasket on that. Don't double gasket it.
Well, here, do you want to just pull this one off?
I would. I'd just keep the OEM one that we already know.
Paper one.
There's no rips in it.
That was brand new.
So, you do see we have new hose clamps for the hose. We took the hose off the other element that was running and driving with no issue. We're going to come back when we get that in spot, guys. All right, so throttle body's changed. Like I said, super easy. We did put new clamps on just because we had them. So clamped and clamped. We're going to start it to see if it idles up and down. I think if it does, it's going to be airlocked. So we're going to have to raise the front of this up and lower the back end and turn the heat on and let it burp itself out. What's it at?
1500 RPM, no check engine light.
1500 for cold, so it's normal. You say engine light on? Heat on all the way?
On the way.
Might as well start burping the system.
Hands on.
So, idle's perfectly good now. Let me hear. Yeah, perfectly good. We did bleed the system. Unfortunately, that was not the issue. The issue is, at first the fans weren't coming on, so we did get it hot enough that the fans did come on. But the main issue with this is the motor is seizing up. So we climbed underneath there. We pushed the motor towards the firewall, the cable, and it gave us heat. So now we do have heat. Still got heat now. Not as hot as I'd like it. So I'm thinking that maybe the whole motor should be changed. I have my other element, so that's another video. But for now, we have heat. We have a converter on it. All the codes are gone except for a knock sensor code that was originally on this car to begin with. So maybe we will do a knock sensor. You know, it doesn't really affect nothing. It's not like it's turbo. Knock is so it can cut fuel if it sees knock. So if the sensor not working, it doesn't see anything technically. So, but it runs, it drives, has another converter on it. O2 sensors light is gone and done, and now we have heat until we change the motor. If you're new to the channel, guys, subscribe, turn on post notifications, and we'll definitely catch you on the next.